Hey everyone, how are y'all doing today? I am here to do my friendship video that I promised you in my last video that was kind of more on family and being rejected because you think outside of the box that society likes to contain us in. And what happens when you think outside that box? How does that impact your friendships? And the reason why this topic's actually been coming up a lot lately for me because of this podcast that I do called Enlighten Up. And it's about four friends who have differing viewpoints and perspectives and beliefs when it comes to many aspects of life, especially spirituality. And we have this range of like fringe beliefs to the very extreme skeptic because it brings in a very interesting conversation and we get to diversify our ideas. The conversation gets to go to new depths and it actually is very interesting. I personally learn a lot through these conversations. It helps me understand where someone else is coming from when they have a different perspective or belief. And it allows me to have more compassion for that person when I'm able to listen to them and hear their point of view. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because there's a whole movement going on right now to censor people, to this shut people down if they don't believe in the same beliefs that you do or see the world through the same eyes or the same lenses that you see the world through. And this is kind of, it's in the political arena for sure, but it's really filtering into our lives, into our family, into our friends. And it's very interesting to observe when, you've got your friend circle and all of a sudden a topic of conversation comes up and you may have a completely different perspective than the majority of the group and you want to voice it and everyone looks at you like you're crazy and no one really wants to hear you and they kind of just shut you down like you can't really think that way. Like you honestly don't think that way, right? Well, why not? Like why not have it? And instead of like keeping the conversation open and being curious and asking more questions as to why someone might be thinking a different way, there's this element of shame that comes in, an element of ridicule, a ways to make you feel stupid for having such a different perspective. And I think that's really sad because what it does is it limits our abilities to understand one another. It limits our ability to learn from one another. And it limits our ability to connect with one another on a human-to-human level. It really reduces the amount of compassion we can have. And that is when things really start to go sideways. That's where you get all of the fighting and the arguments and the resentment and just very toxic energy coming out of people. And I wanted to bring this up, wondering how some of you are doing in your friendships and if you manage to create like a circle of friends that is very open-minded, or do you find yourself in a friendship circle where you are more on the outside of the perspective, or perhaps you're more on the majority and you've got friends who you completely don't agree with and you don't like it when they speak up about certain things. I'm curious to know how you're dealing with it or how you're handling it or what's kind of coming up personally, because I think there's something beautiful to be said for a friendship that honors the individuality of one another, a friendship that is open-minded and willing to listen. There's no way that we can be heard if we're not willing to listen first. It has to be a two-way street. And we have to be the examples in this life to receive a different outcome. And so if we really want to experience our world where it's not shutting down the conversation, that it's not shaming people for having different viewpoints, that we must be willing to entertain new ideas, new beliefs, no matter how much they challenge us. In fact, it is a beautiful thing when we are challenged. It means there's an opportunity for us to grow. And that is the biggest thing. Our whole nature, our whole energetic nature is to expand and expand and expand. Energy likes to move and expand. It does not like to be small and contracted. That's a fear energy. A love energy is expansive. It is open. It is accepting. It is willing. And when we move into that energy field, we are now opening up all possibilities into our life of learning how to engage in this world, how to engage others in a very positive way that's going to affect the change that this world desperately needs, so that we can all come together and bridge this gap of separation that's happening. This bridge is only going to be built, though, through us. And so when we start to take ownership of how we're contributing to this world in honoring all beliefs, all ideas, all concepts, regardless if we agree with it or not, regardless if it just triggers us to our depths, there's a lesson to be learned when we're triggered. There's something inside of us that is just calling out to be heard when we're triggered. And so this is a great opportunity, actually, for all of us to start coming together and listening to the other side. And so I hope that we can start to bridge this gap through honoring one another. And I think through our friendships, it's a great way to start, because there's already a level of knowing, of understanding one another. When you're friends with someone, you've already have some idea of their characteristics and who they are. And so you can build upon it and then expand on how you engage with others in the world. So, I say this because we've been getting a lot of messages, emails, comments on some of our podcasts on how much people are loving that their viewpoints are being represented, whether they're really skeptical viewpoints or really fringe beliefs, that the conversation is very open and it's very casual and it's engaging, and we're willing to hear each other out. And even if we get heated and we start arguing with one another, at the end of the day, we still love one another and we can laugh about it. And I think that's important. I think we have to be able to not take each other so seriously and not take this life so seriously, because when we do, we lose sight of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture right now is that we all really need to unite and come together and bridge this gap of separation, because it's getting way too wide now, and it's time to say enough is enough. How do I contribute to bringing this back together? How do I contribute to the unity and bringing the polarization back into unification? So these are my thoughts today. I'd be curious to hear in the comments below how you guys are dealing with this, and if you have any positive experiences or maybe experiences that you would like advice on. I'm very open to that. You're always welcome to email me at info@inflexibleme.com if you have any questions or anything like that. And if you're interested in hearing any of our conversations on the podcast, you can check us out in iTunes. The new episode comes out every Thursday, and it's a very casual conversation about spirituality. And we have different guests coming on, and so it's a lot of fun. And I'll leave a link in the description below for you all for that. And of course, if you need any more information about me, please head on over to my blog, inflexibleme.com. I have a newsletter that you can sign up for. You stay updated to all my blogs, any events that come out. I do have webinars that I do. And of course, if you're interested in working with me personally, I do offer coaching, and I'd be more than happy to work with you. So again, links for all that down below. So let's all come together. Let's stop fighting with one another and start honoring our individuality, honoring the fact that we're all here just trying to live life, and make it the best we can. And let's just join forces and become like this powerful force that is just ready to take back our sovereignty, take back our happiness, stop giving away our power through being offended and worrying about our feelings. Like, come on, we can all learn from one another, and it's time to grow up. It's time to pull up and put our big pants on and be adults about this and start honoring and respecting not just ourselves, but everyone else around us. So that's it for today, guys. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. And I will be back next week with 2 videos again, because it's I've got my February energy reading coming up, and of course we've got that super blue blood moon coming out. Whoa, it's going to be crazy energy. So stay tuned for that next week, and have a great weekend. Talk to you later.